Hello, everyone. This is Bill Apter, and I just finished taping an episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler, or Tyler and Mike. They're brilliant hosts. You've got to listen. You've got to see. Count It Out. Yeah, I endorse it. They've got the After Chat seal of approval.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brian Pillman Jr., and you're listening to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to another edition of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler, the Bill Apter Seal of Approved Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. My name is Tyler. Welcome you to the show this week. Jam-packed show coming at you. We have an interview with the Barrie Wrestling three-pistol champion, one of the hottest rising stars in all of professional wrestling right now, trained by Daniel Garcia. I'm talking about Myung-Jae Lee. Right after my interview with Jae Lee, it is the return of Mike. He is back on a full-time basis. Mike and I are going to be counting down the top 7 worked shoot promos of all time. It's going to be an awesome episode this week. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to go ahead and throw it to my interview with Myung-Jae Lee, and then stick around because Mike and I counting down the top 7 work shoot promos of all time. All right, guys, I am sitting here right now with perhaps the hottest up-and-coming wrestler on the Ontario and Buffalo, and let's just go right out there and say it, North American wrestling scene. You have heard us talk about this guy on our show 100 times before. I always say that not only is he my favorite wrestler in Barrie Wrestling, but he is fastly becoming one of my favorite wrestlers in all of wrestling. I have the absolute pleasure to sit here with Myung-Jae Lee right now. Jay, thank you so much, man, for sitting down and doing this.
Hello, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, Mike and I are big fans of your work, and even bigger fan of you as a person. Right from that first time we met you at Barrie Wrestling, you came over and hung out with us at our merch table. It was our first Barrie Wrestling show. I believe it was your first one as well. And you've just been nothing but a class act to us, and very nice to us the whole way through. And we really appreciate that. And we appreciate you sitting down today with us.
Of course.
So I want the people to get to know about you, man. You're part of this crazy Buffalo crew that's setting the wrestling world on fire right now. Let's talk about right from the beginning. How did you get into the world of professional wrestling? Where did your fandom come from?
So it came from my family. So I'm actually adopted from South Korea, and I came to America when I was 8 months old. And at that time, my siblings were already teenagers. And my brother was a huge wrestling fan and would watch it every single week. And so my whole entire family would watch it. And just like from being a baby and being around that, my eyes were glued from the start. So
yeah, absolutely. What like age group, like what year frame, like who are you watching coming up? Who are the first guys that got your attention? You're like, damn, this guy's awesome.
I mean, I remember probably my earliest memory was the Big Show, just because I was scared of him. And awesome. He was so ginormous on screen. And it was when he had the long hair too. So it was kind of like the early Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah, okay.
And I just remember watching every week with my friends at school and stuff too, during that Ruthless Aggression era, and then like towards the PG era too. And lots of my friends grew out of it, but I just never stopped watching.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. So I'm obviously a little bit older than you are there, but when I was in high school, it was the Attitude Era. And it was crazy because everybody was wearing wrestling shirts. Everybody was talking about Steve Austin. And like you said, eventually everybody kind of grew out of it. And here I am sitting here and talking to you, a couple of wrestling nerds having a good time, eh?
Absolutely.
So for me personally, like I have matches that I just look back at fondly, just good childhood memories. SummerSlam '89, the Hart Foundation, and the Brain Busters is one of my favorites. What are some of your like favorite matches from back in that time period?
Well, I remember the first wrestling match that ever made me cry was the Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania 24. And I think I was either in like third grade or fourth grade. I was very young, but that was the first time that like tears fell down from my face while watching wrestling. So that one comes to mind. Um, for all the others, I mean, I would watch the TLC matches of the Hardys, Dudleys, and Edge and Christian over and over and over again on like DVD sets. And I would always like have my action figures too with the ladders and everything.
Yeah.
And so like just that type of stuff with all the weapons and the objects like would have my imagination go wild. So
100%, man. Get lost in all that fun, right?
yeah.
So what made you switch the gears here? Let's fast forward a few years, and now you got the bug, you got the itch. Like how did you decide that I'm gonna give this a shot? Like, and did you have the encouragement of your family? Because I know that that's always a tough one when you're younger and then you come to your parents, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be a wrestler. Like,
Yeah, so my parents really wanted me to finish college and all my schooling first, but that ended up not happening. I did finish college, but I started wrestling while I was in college. Um, and even before that, I did the amateur wrestling in high school and in middle school. So I was doing like the Olympic style and the collegiate style for a long time. And doing that type of stuff made me think that I could actually put together my entertainment side and my actual athleticism side and bring them together. So my first year of college, I was researching a bunch of wrestling schools. I didn't make any specific decision, but something that caught my eye was Daniel Garcia on 205 Live. Even though it was just a small extra work thing, it caught my eye, and I was in the area. And so I ended up going with Grapplers Anonymous, the same school.
okay, yeah. So all these decisions now, like 'cause I think we have a similar mind frame. We're both big wrestling guys. Is everything that you're doing, even leading up to this, like in the back of your mind, like how can this help me become a wrestler? How can this help me relate to wrestling? Like is that kind of the mind frame behind some of these moves too?
Yes, absolutely. Even like what I studied in school, like when I got to college, I've done so many papers and essays on wrestling. Um, and even when applying to colleges, we have to write this like personal essay. And my personal essay was about how wrestling helped shape my entire life. So
Awesome, man. That's great. And you talked about the man Daniel Garcia lighting the wrestling world on fire right now. What are your memories of your first couple weeks and months in the business and your early interaction with Daniel?
oh man, he was always there at training, and at that time it was before COVID when I first started to train, and him, Kevin Blackwood, Kevin Bennett, and Puff, they like were on the road every single weekend. And so I remember going into training after in my wrestling school that I went to, Grapplers Anonymous, they have a bunch of like these YouTube videos. So I kind of knew what I was getting into. And just the whole entire culture was just very uplifting. Like everyone just worked towards the same goal. Even though like it was very hard work and we had to do tryouts and stuff and just a bunch of drills. Like the whole atmosphere of Grapplers Anonymous was really cool because just everyone just wanted everyone to get better. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's great, and you can really see that. All the names you just mentioned there are all having really, really successful careers right now, and you're following right in their footsteps there. And how long did it take? Like your first couple of weeks in there. were you thinking like, holy shit, like this is kicking my ass, like, or you just like right at home right away? Like how's your body feeling after the first little bit of training?
I mean, the after the first day, just running the ropes was very tough. I had bruises on my back and arms, and like I didn't realize how hard the ropes were going to be. Actually, my first day there, when I was running the ropes, the Blade and Allie, the bunny, were also there, and that was just so crazy to me because it was just I think a month or two before they made their AEW debut,
Oh,
where they
nice.
came up through the ring. So like, but I knew of them from the independent scene and what they did in Impact, and I just thought it was crazy that they were there to see me run the ropes for the first time ever.
No pressure, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Daniel Garcia, not only as a trainer to you, but just somebody that we're watching every week on AEW now. Not only just, out there working, but he's in this high profile position, working with Chris Jericho every week. He's got blood and guts matches. He's doing John Moxley, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson he's been in there with. How is it kind of crazy for you to watch your friend and kind of your mentor in there with all these guys?
It is. It absolutely is. I remember the first time when he either wrestled John Moxley or CM Punk, and I remember that match card was announced, and I just like was blown away. And no one's more deserving than him because he just has like a mind like no other wrestler that I've seen before. Like he thinks about all the little things, and like he definitely deserves the spot that he's in.
Absolutely. Is he still helping you out, like in any way with any advice still? Are you guys still in contact, or is he kind of busy with AEW right now?
Yeah, he still comes to training every single week, actually, whenever he can. I know sometimes the schedule doesn't allow, but he's still at Grapplers Anonymous as much as he can be.
So with
Yeah,
someone like him too now. So now that he's paired up with Chris Jericho, and you've got all these legends backstage, guys like Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. I can assume, not knowing Daniel personally myself, obviously, but as you say, he's a student of the game. Is he picking these guys' brain back there and bringing this knowledge back and kind of trying to help you guys out with it as well?
yeah. Like I said before, kind of the culture of Grapplers Anonymous. Everyone kind of does that. Whenever people learn something, if they think it can help someone else, then normally they'll just spill. And I think that's what really made me get to the point where I'm at so quickly. Because like my main trainers were Brandon Thurston and Mikey Every Night. And Brandon Thurston is mostly known for his WrestleNomics podcast.
Okay.
And the analytics. And it was very cool to have them for my basic training and everything. But then having all these other guys that were on the road come back to training and tell me all this other information was also just perfect to like really help me.
Well, I'm gonna just kind of put it out in the air right now. I'm sure Daniel Garcia is listening to this, as is Tony Khan. Let's get you in there with the new Ring of Honor when it gets up. You know what I mean? I think you'd be a perfect fit in there. I would love to see it. Or let's even get you up there doing some AEW work. I think your style fits right in with theirs. So Daniel Garcia, make a phone call,
I wish he had that much pull.
Someone else that you're doing a lot of work with and you're hitting the roads with, we got to talk about Puff a little bit. He might be the funniest and most entertaining professional wrestler I've ever witnessed live. How much fun are you having hitting the road and traveling with Puff? I know you guys are all booked on a lot of the same shows. You guys just must be having a blast.
Yeah, it is a blast traveling with Puff. It can also be like we've just experienced so many different things. It's so crazy. But Puff was like the first guy to kind of extend the invitation to me to start traveling with him for shows and everything. And it's fun. Normally we have like a rotating group of people too that ride with us too from the gym, and just so many memories are made just like either at gas stations or one time I've had to sleep in Puff's car that was an experience. Plenty of countless memories at restaurants and just doing crazy things at restaurants. So yeah, traveling with Puff is an experience to say the least.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm so happy to get to see you guys work live at Barrie Wrestling every month. Puff, definitely one of the highlights. How knowledgeable and how, like, those car rides, you guys are on the road for hours at a time. You guys talking the business the whole time. Is he coaching you the whole way, or is it a different animal in those car rides?
Honestly, in those car rides, we rarely talk about wrestling. Like we'll talk about a show after it happened, and if one of us, the beauty of traveling with other wrestlers is if one of us is like feeling down about a match, the others can like kind of help turn it in maybe a negative experience into a more positive one and more of a learning experience. But other than that, we kind of just talk about anything but wrestling.
It's a nice escape, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So like moving on, you said that you started training right before the pandemic. How heartbreaking, obviously the pandemic is there's things bigger than the world of professional wrestling, and I don't want to discredit the impact that it's had on the world, but you're finally out there and you're getting ready to start living out your dream. How discouraging was it for you to kind of have to pump the brakes on everything, and now finally that things are opening up again, you get to get out there. You must be relieved with that, right?
Yeah, it was. At first, when the first lockdown and everything happened, it was very discouraging. I had things lined up because I only had one match in front of a live crowd before the pandemic even happened.
No way.
It was just a few weeks before, and it kind of just halted everything. And I was like, oh, well, is that my whole entire wrestling career? Am I done after this? And I was very nervous about getting booked afterwards. Like, how will anyone want to book me if I don't have experience? But then once training opened back up, the gym started to put on these live Facebook shows called Daddy Yeah Productions. And that was before wrestling with crowds even returned, but we were doing these closed set taping style wrestling matches. And in the first one, I got to wrestle Daniel. And I've also gotten to wrestle Kevin Blackwood and a bunch of other guys from the gym. And it was just people from the gym, but it was good enough to send to promoters. So once shows with live crowds started happening, I was able to send them a few of those matches, and almost instantly they were all for it.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good. And like since then, and since things have opened up again, like we said at the top here, I really think you've been setting the world on fire. Is there a moment or a match for you specifically where you feel like things kind of turned around and people really started to take a little bit more notice of you?
I mean, I would have to say C4 wrestling at C4, even in my opening match against Junior Benito. That was my debut match there. And that put a lot of eyes on me. I think at that point, it was the biggest show that I was on. And just from that, like everyone in Canada, at Barrie, at C4, at all these different promotions in Ontario, they're just also welcoming, and just like from the staff, but also to the fans. And so once the fans started seeing me wrestle more in Canada, I think that's when I kind of started to, rise up or start to pop off a little bit. So
yeah. Oh, I'll tell everybody right now, if you guys haven't seen that match with you and Junior, pause this interview and just go find it. I watched it a little bit earlier today. I hadn't seen it before. And Mike actually sent me his ITV or whatever the thing is, the link for it. He's like, you got to watch this match. I'm like, I know, I've heard about it. Like, and it blew me away. And, I think it kind of set like a standard for you. That was your first match in C4, you said, right? And then, of course, your first match in Barrie Wrestling, you tear the house down with Lionel Knight, gets voted match of the year by Barrie Wrestling. I think you might have a little thing here of making a good first impression wherever you go on these promotions, eh?
Yeah, I try my hardest.
Yeah, the hard work pays off. But like, I'll tell you, like, from the Canadian side here, us as wrestling fans, we appreciate the hard work and we see the work that you put in there. I've watched you now in there with guys like Josh Alexander, who's, obviously he's like our Canadian hero right now, the Impact World Champion. What was it like being in there with Josh?
Oh, it was such a great learning experience. I was incredibly nervous going into it, but the match was, I was happy with it. And then afterwards, Josh sat me down and he, went through all the things and everything. That's another thing about the Canadian indies that I love. Like, even going back to my first match with Junior, the first person to talk to both of us when we came back to the locker room was Mike Bailey.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, people just like offer this advice, and there's so many good Canadian wrestlers with all this knowledge and just soaking it all in. But yeah, Josh Alexander, that was like, I was the most nervous for that match in my entire career. And I thought I did a pretty decent job. And I was pretty happy at the end of it.
Yeah, the match was fantastic as well. And it kind of shows, like, with matches like Josh, that promoters have faith in you as well. I just recently was watching a little bit of you and Cheeseburger in there together. Like, now that the promoters are bringing in names and they're putting you to work with them, that's got to feel like a pretty nice sign of respect for you as well, right?
Yes, it's so crazy to me because I started watching these guys when I was in high school. And so being able to actually share the ring with them is just a complete full circle moment in different ways. Like my match with Cheeseburger, I first saw Cheeseburger from a Kevin Steen YouTube vlog. And like, it was like right before he signed to WWE, Kevin Steen's YouTube channel and everything. And I just remember seeing Cheeseburger and the whole crowd chanting Cheeseburger. And then fast forward a few years and I'm wrestling him, and the former owner of Ring of Honor, Kerry Silken, is watching ringside. Like, just crazy.
Kerry's a great dude. Did you have a chance to talk to Kerry at all? We've had him on our show before. He's awesome.
Yes, he is awesome. He immediately took a picture of me, like, with me, and he tweeted it. So,
oh, nice. I'm gonna find that. I gotta find that and give that a retweet, because Kerry, we had him on the show, and my God, the stories that man had are just, you don't even need to talk about wrestling with him to be entertained. He's crazy.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to take too much more time here in the interview. I know you're a busy guy. Let's just talk about a little bit of your bucket list goals right now. Maybe people that you want to work right now that are out in the world, both on the independent scene that you haven't been in there with and on the main rosters, and kind of your future goals coming into the rest of the year here.
Well, so I'll wrestle anyone and anywhere. I'm just like mostly looking to get more experience and wrestle in different areas. I know I've wrestled a lot in the New England area, and in Canada, obviously. But I'd also love to like journey out to either the Midwest or even the West Coast. And some dream opponents of mine, probably at the top of the list is Kevin Koo, because he's also a Korean American, and I think that would mean a lot to me to wrestle him. We've also shared a few car rides together, so I think it would be pretty cool to wrestle Kevin Koo. I'm trying to think about other people. At Barrie Wrestling specifically, I would love to wrestle Travis Moore. Yes,
that'd be awesome.
Yes, I think he's a great dude, and I would just love to get in the ring with him. I'm kind of drawn more towards young guys, kind of like me. It's why I love guys like Junior Benito and the hot stepper McCray Martin, Like,
Yeah, hot stepper. I'm representing right now. I love the hot stepper.
yes, absolutely. Our match at Barrie was wonderful too, but just like all these young and hungry guys, I think I'm intrigued to wrestle people like them. Um, and even more people who have been in the business a little more, even at Barrie Wrestling. Like, I'd love to wrestle the White Russian, Anton Alexiev.
He's awesome too.
Yeah, there's like plenty of matches to be had. So
Well,
I'll
that's
wrestle
awesome.
anyone.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm glad that you stopped by to talk to our viewers here on Count It Out. Can you let the people know where they can get a hold of you? Twitter, Instagram, anything for bookers if they want to book you?
Of course, my Twitter and Instagram are the same handle. It's at Myung-Jae98. That's MYUNGJAE98. And then my booking email are in the bios of both of them. So.
Awesome. Do yourself a favor, guys. If you have not had an opportunity to check out Jay Lee here, go out of your way. I'm telling you, you're going to be seeing him on TV. It's only a matter of time. And you heard it here first. All right. Jay, thank you, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Again, guys, you need to check out Myung-Jae Lee. Look him up on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Watch some of his matches. This guy, he is going to be a major player. I just know it. I just know it.
And you know what? I said this before on our Facebook page. I'll say it again. This is what ground floor looks like, baby. We were on the ground floor for the explosion of Myung-Jae Lee. We knew from the day we met him way back in September. He was during his Barrie Wrestling debut.
Which one match of the year, by the way?
Which match was match of the year against Lionel Knight? It was his debut. It was his first Barrie show. It was our first Barrie show. He was the very first person to ever take a picture with the Barrie with the Counted Out T-shirt. One of the first guys we really met. Him and Puff were the two first guys we really got to talking to and stuff like that at Barrie Wrestling. And two of the coolest guys, and Jay Lee himself is one of the coolest guys we've met. Almost a year later, still very close and very we're very fortunate to have a friendship with him. And hopefully we'll hold on to that when he becomes a fucking superstar, because he will. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
I just want to say, like, from a personal standpoint, as impressive as he is in the ring, he is that nice of a human being. 100%. And Jay, if you are listening to this, cheers, buddy. We love you. Keep up doing what you're doing, man, because the sky's the limit for you, my friend. The sky's the limit. And hopefully I'll transition this into the list now. And hopefully the sky's the limit for my list here. I think I did a pretty good one. This was an interesting list. Top 7 worked shoot promos of all time. Mm-hmm. This is based off of the MJF promo about a month ago, give or take, where
that's pretty much when you started working on this list, right?
Was it a work? Was it a shoot? The jury is still out on that. We have not heard from him.
It was a work.
I think it's a work, personally. So my criteria for this is that it has to be a worked shoot. So you're not going to see Vince Russo come out Barrie and Hogan. You're not going to see I'm Jim Cornette, and that's my opinion, because there was no angle towards that. It was just him shooting on the NWO. And
I won't lie, I forgot about those. I like those. I'm not a Jim Cornette fan at all, but I always liked those back in the day. Those that's my opinion shit. I thought it was ballsy of Vince McMahon to let him do that at that point in time.
Yeah, well, and especially knowing what we know of Cornette now, like, obviously Vince knew that back in the day, and here, say whatever you want, go nuts, and he did. But
you're the only reason you're not allowing that to be part of the criteria is because it wasn't really an angle.
Yeah, it's just him shooting. That was just a shoot, like legit, right? So, and I will not be putting the MJF promo on the list because I don't know what's going on with that. I think it's a work, but that's what inspired the list, so I'm not putting it on the list.
Makes sense.
What do you think, man? You want to jump into the old number 7? The good old number 7?
The good old number 7.
It's Brock Lesnar. No, I'm just kidding. Good old number 7.
Just his theme music.
Just his theme music. That's right.
Yeah.
The good old number 7 for me, though, I'm going pretty recent, actually. I'm going to Talking Smack, The Miz and Daniel Bryan. At first, I had this a lot lower.
I'm surprised. Like this is a 5, a 4 for me. So,
that's about where I had it to begin with. Then I went back and I re-listened to the promo, and Miz does hit a couple real banger lines in it. So
good,
but he does also ramble a lot and kind of repeat himself a lot in it as well. So that's why I kind of bumped it up a little bit.
That's kind of why I like it though, because that gave it a little bit more of a reality base to it.
Yeah.
Where in an era of wrestling where everything is now scripted, and I don't mean in wrestling, I mean in WWE, where everything is scripted, everything is by the fucking word, that you have to memorize your script. That did not feel like a script. It did not sound like a script. And when you start rambling, you're like, oh, that's not a script. That like he's just going off. Because I do that when I'm angry. I go off and I'll ramble and I'll repeat things like that too. So that's what it felt like. It felt real.
Yeah. And it was, but just when I compared it to the other stuff on my list, I think that the other promos were a little bit stronger overall. But I think this was like, if you don't look at the Miz and see a superstar, especially after something like this, I don't want to hear, oh, the Miz. The Miz is one of the best WWE superstars of all time.
It was such a full circle thing because, he got, there was, I don't want to say there was heat on him, but there was a certain amount of heat on him from ROH fans and old school fans of Dragon, of the American Dragon, for being his mentor in NXT. Like, everybody's like, oh, this fucking real world guy is now, he thinks he's good enough to be the fucking mentor. Daniel Bryan's not a fucking rookie.
You want to know what that's called? And because I was one of those people that was losing their mind about it.
Amazing
that's called
storytelling.
That's called great fucking booking, is what that's called, right?
100%. 100%. And it told a great story. And Bryan came out of NXT as one of the biggest names to come out of NXT.
Yeah.
Now, did he get slowed down because of the Justin Roberts shit? Yes.
I would honestly say, though, he is the biggest name to come out of that NXT.
Out of that era of NXT, yes.
Him and Roman, right? And Seth?
See, I consider them two different NXTs.
Fair.
You had your game show NXT, and then you had Dusty's NXT.
Yeah, fair.
You know what I mean? Out of the game show NXT, who came out of it? Other than what? Wade Barrett?
Yeah. He had a good
run.
What
I mean? Justin Gabriel? But but Daniel Bryan's the biggest name to come out of that. I'd say that Roman and Seth were the two biggest names to come out of Dusty's NXT.
That's fair. What do you think? So you're a little skeptical. My place with number 7. Let's see if I
got to hear what. Yeah, I'm not ready to shit on it yet. I want to hear what else you have going on. I'm just surprised it's at the number 7 spot. For me, it's a 5 or 4.
I got a real deep cut for my number 6.
Okay.
I'm going to one of many stops to the ECW era. We're going to the ECW arena the night that Shane Douglas throws down the NWA title.
Why didn't I think of this? This is genius. What a great call. Dude, when I was kind of doing my mock list for this, that never even a bunch of ECW stuff came to mind. That didn't. And again, 6. But like now that I'm thinking of it, to me, this is a 4 or maybe even a 3.
I have it back and forth with my 5.
This is a phenomenal promo. This pissed people off. Ric Flair wanted to fucking kill Shane Douglas over this promo. This is one of the most heat-seeking missile promos of all time.
This is the epitome of a work shoot promo because this was a shoot. Shane Douglas legitimately threw the NWA title down and christened ECW, but they convinced the promoter of the NWA, Don Carluzzo at the time, I think his name is Don Carluzzo or Dan Carluzzo, that, oh, no, this is going to be good for business. They got him to cut promos saying Shane Douglas is the champion. This is third, blah, blah, blah. But this was the birth of Extreme Championship 100%. Wrestling.
when he said, what was the line? He says the lineage behind this title, guys like Lou Thez, and I
He
can't
named
remember
everybody.
and then he says, and they can kiss my ass, and he throws the title down. Holy fuck, man. And back then, this is what do you say? This is 94?
This was 1994.
94? You didn't do that.
No.
You didn't do that. You did not disgrace the end. If any title you didn't disgrace, it's the 10 pounds of gold. You didn't do that. Kayfabe was still very, very big in this day, and there's still a lot of pride and a lot of the guys still have that mentality that Bret Hart and Ric Flair still have to this day. It's still very fucking real to these guys. And in 94, a lot of people felt like that. Shane Douglas shit all over their legacy, and you didn't do that.
There's a lot of people. Nuts. There's a lot of people that say, even to this day, that the NWA never recovered from this. They disappeared for a long time.
Yeah, and then in 2002, they had a resurgence with TNA
for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for debate. I wouldn't credit Shane Douglas for killing the NWA.
No,
you know what I mean?
Like this moment though, like it definitely put the NWA. They were dead for a long time after this.
Well, that's it. But it did exactly what Paul Heyman wanted to do. Paul Heyman wanted to separate himself from that. He didn't want to be part of that old boys club anymore. He wanted to be something different. I remember, I believe it was on the Rise and Fall of ECW DVD, that he compared it to, he's like, they were like Motley Crue and Poison, and we were Nirvana.
Yeah.
I love 100%. That analogy. They wanted to be that grunge. They wanted to be that new sound. I love that analogy.
Well, we'll see if you agree with my placement on this. I really went back and forth with this one and my number 5 here with the placement on it. I ended up putting this at my number 5 just because of the historical significance that it kicked off. I think Shane's promo was better, but I'm going with my number 5, and I'm going to let you talk about it first because I need to stop Max Dog from chewing on my beautiful girlfriend's brand new rug at the moment.
I hope I remember it.
Number 5, Vince McMahon, Bret screwed Bret.
Oh,
you get the take.
This is a good place for this. I really like the placement of this entire promo, the way they did it, the way they had him sitting down. It was a one-on-one interview. I question the work shoot aspect of it. Was it really a work when this was supposed to be an entire shoot? That's my only question. You were gone. You didn't hear my question. What's going on? I can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted my microphone. Please repeat your question for me.
My question was, is this really a worked shoot? Or is this a shoot? I feel like this is exactly what Vince McMahon felt. This wasn't Mr. McMahon. This wasn't fucking, this was Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the man, the owner of the WWE, saying, fuck him. I'm not saying it shouldn't be on your lists because it's a phenomenal, I wouldn't even call it a promo. It's a phenomenal interview, and it's a phenomenal moment. It's a very important moment in, it started an era of wrestling, but I don't know if it fits your criteria as work shoot. I think this is Vince McMahon coming on camera to say, fuck him.
See, and I get what you're saying there. And I thought that at first, and originally I didn't have this on my list at all because of that. But then I started thinking more and I thought, okay, I think Vince is just shooting, but it turned into the worked character
100%.
of what Mr. McMahon was, right? So that's where I kind of justify that.
Mr. McMahon has two things that created him: Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those two things together made Mr. McMahon. But that original promo, Bret screws Bret, I think that was Vince McMahon just being like, listen, I did what I had to do for my company. Fuck them.
Yeah, and I agree, but that promo spawned something. You know what I mean?
If there's a yes, if we're talking, if part of your criteria is importance, yes, this deserves to be right here. Me personally, this is a number 7 for me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I kept bumping it down just because of the historicalness that it really.
It's a very
spawned,
important promo.
Yeah,
Very
I had it at my number 6 and I had Shane at my number 5, and I switched it around at the last minute. I mean, you could flip a coin on that one, I think.
Okay.
Let's start having some fun now, though. Number 4. We're going to ECW One Night Stand, Paul Heyman shooting on the WWE roster.
See, this is like a 2 for me, man. This is holy shit. That entire fucking promo is just beautiful. Like from the I'm not crying, I was in the back with RVD smoking a joint, to hold on to your wives, there's Edge.
The Triple H line to JBL was the best one.
That is the best line. The only reason you had the title for years because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Man, they let Paul, they being Vince really, but they let Paul do what he wanted to do on that show. Paul said, listen, man, if you're going to let me do a one-time pay-per-view, just let it be ECW. And they did. They threw some WWE elements into it with the invasion of the guys and, Bischoff and his crew and JBL and all that. Sure. But it was an ECW show through and through, right to that fucking promo. They let Paul do whatever the fuck he wanted. He came out and he said exactly what he wanted to say that night. And it's one of my favorite promos in the history of the WWE television.
Very, very fun. Very, very fun promo. I
great pay-per-view.
It was a great pay-per-view. It's one of the best pay-per-views of all time.
Yes.
Not just in WWE history. I think it's one of the best pay-per-views of all time.
I could not agree with you more. I love that pay-per-view.
Yeah. I'm going to keep rolling then with ECW at my number 3 spot. I've got Joey Styles shooting on Jerry the King Lawler and Monday Night Raw.
I knew this was going to be on your list, and I thought about it, and I went and revisited it. My memories of it weren't great. I don't know why I had a problem with it, but after revisiting it, I think number 3 might be like number 4, number 3 is a good spot for it. I think you're right. My only problem with it is I hate this argument. I think because they're doing it in AEW too, this argument of sports entertainment versus professional wrestling is so fucking stale to me. I hate it. To me, there's no difference between the two. It's potato.
I like the way that they're doing it in AEW because they're doing it as like cheeky. They're doing it as like a more of a joke than a serious matter.
If it was almost anybody but Chris Jericho doing it, I'd probably be like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Because he's doing it and calling himself a fucking wizard, and you know what I mean? It's stupid. It's stupid, but it's funny, stupid. It's silly, stupid. I'm okay with what they're doing in AEW right now with it.
Like even to the point before his music hits, they do like a signature, like how the WWE opening used to be, like that, like for over 50 years. Like he has something that I don't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head, but it's something like that, which really makes me laugh.
But this whole argument that was started with Moxley and CM Punk of professional wrestling versus sports entertainment, I'm just done with it. I hate it. To me, it's potato tomato. It's all the same fucking shit. I like fuck off with the terminology. It's all professional wrestling. It's all sports entertainment. It's all storytelling. It's all you know what I mean. So that's why I think I had bad memories of that promo, because I'm just like, oh yeah, he's just another guy fucking bitching and whining about storytelling. But the way the promo was done was very fucking good.
Yeah.
Joey came out, said what he wanted to say, but it was still compelling.
I didn't really think that he focused that heavy on sports entertainment versus wrestling, to be honest.
I do, because of the way he harped on the storytelling aspect.
Like, but the way he
said
said
they don't want me to learn moves. They don't want me to talk about moves. They want me to be a storyteller. You know
yeah,
what
and
I mean?
I like
that's a-
that though. Like I think that's like him being like, these guys are busting
I
their
do-
ass. I thought it
I
was
do
a
now
better
that
way
I've
to go about
rewatched
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do now that I've rewatched it.
I like the part when he's like, and then you're telling me that I'm not good enough to call backlash. Like, I thought that was great. I like the little things that he said, like, when you called me, I didn't call you looking for a job. Like, I just thought Joey Styles, this was, I think, the next to like Barely Legal, I think this was the best thing he's ever done in his career.
I'm not sure if this is a number 3 for me, but it's definitely at least a number 4.
Well, I know that my number 2 is not a number 2 for you. You know, we had to talk about it at some point.
I know.
We're going to the pipe bomb.
I'm surprised it's not your number 1. I'm hoping your number 1's what I'd like it to be. Already I know there's a big one that I love that's missing, but we'll talk about that later. The pipe bomb is what it is. I'm glad it's not your number 1 because I don't think it's the best promo in the world.
I don't
really
think so either.
I think it's overrated, overhyped, oversaturated. But it's not horrible, but it's not a favorite of mine by any stretch of the imagination.
I went back and re-listened to it in doing this list because I hadn't listened to it in a few years. Because I'm with you, I respect the pipe bomb a lot for what it is. You know what I mean? It was a big moment, and
do I like some moments of it? Like I still giggle when he does the high Cole Cabana.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I love that shit. But like this is like a 3 for me. This is I don't know. It also could be because I'm not a massive CM Punk fan.
Fair.
That very well could be part of it. I understand if CM Punk is your favorite wrestler and he cuts that fucking promo and you fucking jerk off all over it, I get it. But he was never my favorite wrestler. At that point in time, I was over him. I really didn't give a fuck about Punk.
Yeah.
And then he goes and cuts that promo, and I'm like, okay, it was good. And at that point in time when it happened, I remember thinking, all right, that was different. That was good. I liked it. But then as the years go by, it's like it's shoved in your face and talked about as it's the best thing that ever fucking happened. And it's just not for me.
See, and I am a big Punk fan, and I always have been. I don't romanticize Punk. I don't think I do, at least like everybody else does. Like, I just really like Punk. I've always enjoyed his promos. I've always enjoyed his work. I mean, I did think that the pipe bomb was an overrated promo as well for a long time. I went back and re-listened to it though. I enjoyed it a lot more than I had memories of enjoying it. I really like, to me, this is the perfect work shoot promo because it really furthered the storyline as well. Everything he said was still like pushing Money in the Bank. I'm going to take the title and leave. And then he got, the jabs in, like Triple H is a doofus and Vince is going to die, high Colt Cabana, like all that stuff. I just thought that his pacing, his delivery, and what he said was really good. Have you ever heard him tell the story about like the aftermath of that promo?
No.
Because he went down the side stage and apparently like everybody in the back was freaking out. And he said the first person he saw was Chris Masters. And Chris Masters was in such a state of shock that he didn't even realize it was Punk. And he was like, man, did you see that? Punk's going to get fired. And Punk was like, Chris, it's me. He's like, oh shit, dude, you're going to get fired. And he's like, it's pretty funny.
That.
Yeah. It's pretty funny little story Punk told about that. But
if I can be perfectly honest, not only do I think the pipe bomb's not like the greatest promo ever, I don't think it's CM Punk's greatest promo.
It's not. His promo with Raven is his best promo ever.
Thank you.
And I thought about
examples.
I really wanted to put that on my list, but it wasn't a shoot promo. It was just
no. Nothing that I'm going to use as an example here belong on this list. But I do think they're better promos. His promo against Jeff Hardy, I think, was better. Mm-hmm. His promo, the one where he's doing the contract signing with Vince, I think was better. The one where the one against Triple H, where he's sitting in the fucking chair there, was better.
I really liked his promo, and I guess I could have even thought about this, but the original Summer of Punk, where he made that heel turn.
Yeah. That's a great one. The one right after the Colt Cabana thing. Yeah, I love that.
The one after he won the world title in his last Ring of Honor match.
Oh, okay.
And then he turned heel, and Christopher Daniels returned. Great angle. The original Summer of Punk.
The original Summer of Punk. Yes. And then another one I just remembered, the one with The Rock, the boxing with God.
Yeah. That's a
Fucking
good
love
one
that
too.
shit.
Punk has got some.
He's got
stuff.
great promos. I'm not gonna take that away from him. I just don't think the pipe bomb isn't one of them.
That's a great work shoot promo though. Number 2 in my book.
Don't know if it's my number 2, but God, I hope your number 1's what I want it to be. I hope it is.
Well, we talked about this man earlier today. We're going back to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman shooting on Vince McMahon before the Survivor Series pay-per-view in 2001.
Okay.
I love this promo. I think it is the best work shoot promo of all time.
Because I've been so focused on one single one that you didn't even talk about. I forgot about this. You are right. This belongs in the top 3, if not your number 1. I'm with you here. We'll talk about my disappointment in a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I've got 2 that really, to me, should be on the list. It's not my list, so fine. I'm not going to shit on it. But because everything you show, because everything you talk, new Mike. I'm the daddy of a little baby girl. I got to be a good person now.
Give me 3 weeks with you. I'll have you back to tell me to shut the fuck up, piece of shit, in no time.
Let's talk about this promo before we move on. This is a great promo. It is. I'm not sure it's my number 1, to be perfectly honest, but it is. It definitely deserves to be talked about as one of the best work shoots ever.
I think you got to go back and rewatch this promo. And anybody who hasn't listened to this promo in a long time needs to go back and rewatch it. The stuff that he says to Vince here, and Vince didn't know. Vince told him, say whatever you want. Don't tell me, just say it out there. Yeah. And Heyman unloaded on him.
Don't you miss that? Like, where did Vince's balls go after the years?
They're tied up in multi-million-dollar settlements now, but that's a different story that we won't talk about.
Like he used to have the fucking cojones to go out and be like, "Fuck it, let's do this." Man, I miss that.
It's like some of the lines he dropped on this, your father would be so disappointed in you. He basically said the Attitude Era was a ripoff of ECW. Some of the stuff he was like, you took Hulk Hogan's blood and you built a Titan Tower. You took Shawn Michaels' smile and bought yourself a private jet, like stuff like that. You took Bret Hart's soul and bought yourself this, like. And he's not wrong on any of it. Like, Vince is a fucking son of a bitch, man.
Except for the Shawn Michaels smile.
Yeah, I don't remember if exactly he said Shawn Michaels smile. I could have made that one up. But he talked about, like, Bruno and Bret and Hogan. Yeah. And just, like, how he took their soul, how he uses people and throws them away like garbage. Like,
wow. I mean, knowing what is going on right now, that promo kind of hits home, no?
I'm telling you, everybody go back and listen to this promo. But Mike, I'm dying to know, what did I miss that you were very disappointed in me on?
Me personally.
And where would it be ranked on your list?
It's a top 3 for sure.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure, but in the top 3 somewhere. It's Bret Hart's Blue Cage promo.
I thought about that, and I didn't feel like it fit my criteria. I just thought it was a promo.
I think it was a work shoot. I really do. I think Bret Hart was legit frustrated. I think he was he was frustrated with everything going on in WWE at the time, and he took that time to use as an outlet, and he threw his frustration out on Vince because that's who he's fucking frustrated on. He was professional enough not to like let it out with who Vince was, but holy fuck, did he, like, in hindsight now?
Yeah, but it was all planned though. Like they
but this is in a day where they were given the reins to say whatever they wanted, right?
Well, Vince told Brett to swear, and they would and Vince was like, I want you to swear, I want you to, and we'll beep it out. And they didn't, and Brett was pissed about it. Brett didn't want to swear. He didn't want to do that. The reason why I didn't think about it for this list though, is because everything Brett was complaining about, it was more of a heel turn than a work shoot to me. You screwed me at the Royal Rumble. I've been screwed here. I've been screwed here.
And I think that's why it felt like a shoot to me, because it was he hadn't turned heel yet.
Yeah, but to me it just felt like a heel turn.
And to me it wasn't like the way I remember looking at it was, holy fuck, that's not the character Bret the Hitman Hart. That's Bret Hart, and he's pissed.
Yeah, I didn't see it as a shoot when I looked at it. I agree with you, everything you're saying about the promo, but the
exact same can be said about the other one that I feel is missing. And this is a number 7, number 6 spot. But it's the Undertaker's promo where he comes out in the tracksuit.
Yeah, good promo.
He was 100% out of character for the first time ever. And he just came out. It wasn't, the Undertaker didn't go to the ring that night. That was Mark Calloway, and he was not fucking happy. And I feel like he came out and he aired his real life grievances in the ring that night. I think that belongs on your list, maybe over one or two that you had on there.
I mean, would you bump the Miz for it? Would you bump? I know that you were skeptical.
Because to me, the Miz would be in a different place.
I know you were skeptical on my Vince one being on there, so maybe you bump that one.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be gone for me.
That's fair. I had Shane Douglas on there. I had Heyman, Styles, Pipe Bomb, and Heyman on Vince.
For me personally, just because I'm not the biggest fan of Styles. Styles will be gone for me. It's
really, for re-listen to that promo. I think you change your mind on it.
You might be right, but Brett and Taker, I think, just deserve to be on that list because I think they're both phenomenal promos for their time.
I do have some honorable mentions as well. Do you have any honorable mentions at all? Anything that you can think of? I know you said there's an Eddie Kingston one.
There's an Eddie Kingston one from Progress where he came out and basically said, I'm sick and tired of making stars. He came out and he goes, go watch NXT. Every motherfucker on that show I made. It was just a great promo. And you could tell he really meant it. Yeah, I'm gonna resend it to you because I know you haven't seen it.
No, I'm
gonna send it to you again, and hopefully you'll agree with me. It's too late for the list, but it's a great promo. After hearing your list, does it belong on the list? Probably not, but it's a high honorable mention.
All right, fair. I'll bang off some of mine. I've got when The Rock returned to Monday Night Raw after Steve Austin walked out, kind of shot on Austin a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
The promo wasn't The Rock's best promo, but he did that thing where he was like, I'll be 100 years old on a walker. That's the part I remember about it. What I really wanted to be on the list, and it just wasn't that great going back and rewatching it, was X-Pac's return to Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania 14 when he...
Okay. I never thought of that as a work shoot, but it is. It definitely is, because he came out and he shot on Bischoff and shit. Yeah, it's definitely not list worthy.
No.
It's definitely not list worthy, but it is I don't think it's a shitty promo.
No, it wasn't as good as I remembered it being. It was still good, and especially at the time, it was like holy fuck.
And it was holy
fuck at the time.
When he said, when Triple H says, you hold on to your friends, you bring in your friends, and then he comes out. JR's reaction is amazing, where he's like, "Oh no,
look who it is!
Look who it is!" And there was no such thing as a smart mark at the time that I knew of, but you're sitting there watching, you're like, that's 6. That's the 1, 2, 3 kid.
Yeah.
What the fuck is what? It was a great moment. And it was a good promo. Definitely doesn't belong in the top 7, but I liked it. I have a question for you. I have one. Yeah. I don't know if you think fits the criteria. The promo between The Rock and John Cena, where John Cena calls him out on
I never thought about that one. You know what? I would say that's kind of work shooty. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I never really thought about that one. I had this one didn't make the list because it was just a shoot, and that's Samoa Joe on Scott Hall in TNA.
Yeah, that was 100% a shoot. That wasn't the work. I mean, that was Scott fucking everybody over, and then Joe just letting his anger out on the mic, and then getting slapped for it later.
Yeah.
But
this one didn't make my list because I think it's more of a promo than a work or a shoot. Is Brian Pillman's ECW debut.
Yeah.
And especially when Shane Douglas is walking out there going, he's shooting, Paul, he's shooting. Like,
yeah,
more of a promo. John Cena on Roman Reigns was on my honorable mentions.
Okay. Yeah.
Matt Hardy's return promo was on my honorable mentions when he came back from being fired.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Or like any of the bite this stuff that they did.
Yeah.
You could
Well,
put
was
on there.
Was that shoot or work shoot?
It was work shoot. It was all work, but it wasn't good. For Lita, it wasn't good. Sorry.
Yeah.
AJ Lee's shoot on the Total Divas.
Yep.
Didn't make my list because the Bellas and Eva Marie ruined the entire promo. If you go back and rewatch that, it was awful. Yeah. I had The Undertaker breaks character on there. Jeff Jarrett's WWF return right before he did the NWA stuff in '98. He cut a good promo.
Okay. Yeah.
This one was more
one.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, that was definitely a work shoot, right?
This one was more of a shoot for me. Paul Heyman shooting for TNN to fire them.
I love that promo when he's just staring into the fucking cameras, like,
looking like
fire
he's
me,
coked out of his
fire
face.
me. Yeah. I dare you, fucking take me off the air, fire me. I love that so much.
And the last honorable mention I have is Jim Ross bringing in the fake razor and fake.
Yes, thank you.
Honorable mention.
I love that so much. Yeah, that's a great one.
That's my list, folks.
His heel run didn't last very long, but I loved it while it did.
Yeah. And Oklahoma did not make an honorable mention because it was
Ed Ferreira will never make a list that we ever do, ever.
Not a best of list, at least.
Definitely not a best of list.
No.
Fuck.
But yeah, that's my list, man.
The list was great. As usual, as you do for me a lot. I had problems with the order a little bit, but in a whole, it was a great list. I liked it better than I thought I would.
Hell
I really
yeah.
did. Yeah.
Well, on that note, check out our boy Myung-Jae Lee and
get ready for Who Day, Brian Pillman.
And I'm hoping that we will have another massive guest announcement shortly, but I don't want to jinx it. Right? I don't want to jinx anything yet.
Okay. This is the biggest, holy fuck, man. The biggest announcement we've ever made on this show is coming soon.
Hopefully.
Yes.
And you nailed it. It is the biggest holy fuck. Absolutely.
100%.
Well,
all right, man.
I got nothing else to say. You got anything you want to say?
No, man. What a great way to bring me back in. I know like people think that I haven't really been gone long, but last week's show was fucking recorded back in April.
Yeah.
And the one before that was an interview, whatever. But it feels bad. It feels great to be back for good and for real. And I'm not going to have any more kids, so no more hiatuses.
Yeah, because your man-child needs more attention over here.
All right, man.
Well,
so
I was going to say, do you forget how to do this? Take us home, man.
Yeah, apparently. On behalf of my return to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler, me,
and on behalf of Myung-Jae Lee.
Hey, I do not speak for Myung-Jae Lee.
No, on behalf of him.
That man commands enough respect to speak for himself. We have been counted out.
Cheers.